All right, vehicle lifted off the ground, tire is off. I like to just take the wheel and turn it. That gives me access to all these back bolts here. Then I'll take a pry bar or a long screwdriver, put it in between the caliper and the rotor, give it a tug, and that'll suck in the piston most of the way. So when it comes to compressing the piston later, there's not much left to do. It's bottomed out. Now I can take these off. 14 millimeter. Suspend my caliper. And then I can take these off. 15 millimeter. And the bracket's off. Now we just take our pads out of the way, pull off our little retaining hardware, and then we just want to clean up where the hardware was. Any rust, any thing that's going to prevent or push that hardware out, prevent it from seating in all the way. Then each of these little slide pins you want to pull out of their boot like that, wipe that off, and then we'll install new grease on there. Silicone based grease, not petroleum, that's important. At the auto parts store you can get caliper grease. Put it back in. I like to twist it as it's going in. And then we'll put our hardware on. They only go on one way so you can't get it confused. If you live in a super rusty place, you can lubricate behind the hardware. So before you put the hardware on, just slap a little anti-seize or some kind of protectant on the bracket before putting the hardware on. That may help, because what can happen is rust gets built up behind here and it starts pushing out on the hardware, and then your brakes, the brake pads seize in. They no longer slide back and forth freely. Now that's in heavily rust areas, the rust belt. So now pulling the rotor off. On the front, there's two little retaining clips if these have never been replaced before. On here they are factory, so we just want to pull them out a little, and then we'll use a pair of side cutters and just cut them off. Should be two. Those come off. So now you want to clean off the hub here best you can. If it's heavily rusted, you know, take a wire wheel or something to it, clean it all off. We don't typically have that issue where I live, but either way I like to put some kind of protectant on it. This is what I've come to love, but use what you want. Anti-seize is fine too. That's what I used to use. But this just goes on super quick. And then your new rotor. Now your new rotor has a protective coating on the top of it to prevent it from rusting during storage. Let's see if you can see it. See it? Every once in a while you get that shiny spot. So that's part of the protective coating. You just want to take some parts cleaner and wipe that off. Wipe it off with a clean rag, not the rag that you wiped the slide pins off with, but a clean rag. If you forget to wipe it off, no big deal. It'll burn off. But that's kind of the bad part, is it'll smell for however long, a couple of weeks before it burns off. Rotor goes on, and you could put a lug nut back on. That'll hold the rotor in place. Caliper bracket's good to go. These are torqued to 85 foot-pounds. Now this is just me. When I'm moving really fast, I like to make sure everything's tight and I don't forget anything. So I mark it. These have been torqued, so they get marked. Now I don't have to guess, oh man, did I do that? Did I not do that? The proof is right there. New brake pads. The old ones had the little brake wear indicator as part of it. The new ones come with a separate little thing that you install. So if you look at the old brake, it going on the inside, you could tell because of the caliper ring, top. So the inside top gets the new indicator. So now it won't quite fit because I don't have the piston pushed back far enough. But I don't have to push it back too far. So I'm just going to use a pair of little C channels. It's not very far. Make sure that your brake line isn't twisted. There we go. And this is torqued to 25 foot-pounds. And that's it. So I like to do one side at a time. Now we can put the tire on, bolt it down, and I like to just push on the brake pedal till the caliper piston closes again as far as it'll go. The reason why I do that, doing one at a time, helps me stay focused, but also pumping the brakes back up, filling up the piston, makes it so that brake fluid reservoir doesn't overflow on me. If I push this all the way in, push the other side all the way in, and then I go back to the rear, push those all the way in, my reservoir is just, it's gonna fill up and flow over. So I do one at a time, go inside, pump it up, and then go to the next one. After everything's done, take it for a spin, 35 miles an hour, come to a nice, good, solid stop, you know, so you kind of go forward. You don't want to lock the brakes up, but you can kind of feel a nice, good slow down. I do that about 5 or 6 times. Don't overheat the brakes, but do it a few times, and your brakes should be good to go. All right, be safe. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe. See you on the next one.